Are you getting everything you want out of life? Today, you'll hear about 4 small next steps for you to get what you want. Every day here at lost1million.com, we talk about getting what you want. Now, before you send me hate mail, let me explain a little bit. Now, before I do that, the 4 small next steps that we're going to talk about today are hot goals, be there, KISS, and radical mental care. All right, backing up to why. Well, what I find out from speaking to people everywhere I go is that 70% of you are living paycheck to paycheck. And I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I was at an event the other day and 500 people were asked if they were living in their passion. And 3 people raised their hands. So what I know is at least 50% of you want to grow something on the side or get out entirely of what you're doing. And then 90% of you are running out of time each day to get done what you need to get done. And what we talk about every day here is growing your bank account, living your passion, and maximizing your time. And we call that the have it all circle, because you function going back and forth from those 3 things. That's what I've discovered that you want. One of those 3 things and all of those 3 things eventually. And of course, again, before you start saying it's all about the money, it's not all about the money. Our Unworkshop series is titled Currency is More Than Cash, just because we know it's not all about the money. Inside this have it all circle is what we call the 6 F's. F as in faith, family, fitness, finances, falling forward, and friendships. And here's a good example here where I made this nice chart for you and the business, and my daughter comes in here and puts this little smiley face on here and says, "Love you, Dad." That's having it all. Integrating your life into what's important to you. Now, let's get into the 4 small next steps that you need to take to get you what you want. Number 1 is what I call hot goals, meaning you need goals that fire you up. So when you wake up in the morning, you are ready to go to get it done. You want to get out there and kill it. And the best example I can give you from my life is when I was growing up, my dad wanted me to be a pharmacist. That's right. Can you imagine me being a pharmacist? Counting pills, organic chem, I don't even know what else I needed to take. Lots of math. And, those are all great things if you're wired for those things, but clearly that is not my gifting. My gifting is leadership and people and encouragement and not sitting in a cubicle counting pills all day. And those goals led me to go to college based on the pharmacy plan, and I ended up spending 2 years of my dad's money living a life of, you know how college can be. It's a miracle that I'm alive. And I won't go into all the details, but you know what I'm talking about. And even today with my wife and I can have lots of goals, dreams, and visions, yet if I don't match them up with my wife and my children, they're just not exciting for her all the time when I bring my goals into the family. So the hot goals that you have in your life need to fire you up and get you out of bed every morning. And if you're in a position right now where you're not living your passion, that's okay. What I say to give you some of that passion is do something on the side. Chip out a little bit of time each day for you to work on getting you to your passion, because you'd be amazed if you just do some daily actions, some small next steps, that a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, poof, you'll wake up and you'll be an overnight success, just like all those people who seem to have it all and didn't really do anything for it, because what they did is take small next steps over time to get their goals. All right, so that's hot goals. Number 2 is be there. People call this being fully present, being in the moment. And this is difficult. I know for me as a man, and of course it's probably not a man thing, it's a men-woman thing, yet I know as a man, I go to work every day, I have a hard time leaving my house, my wife and children, and I get into work, and I do have hot goals, so I'm fired up to be there. Perhaps you can relate to this, and I'm getting my stuff done. I'm in my man work box, and I'm focused, yet I'm thinking about getting home for my family and how I miss them. And so I have to check myself and make sure that I stay in my work box when I'm at work. I'm focused on work when I'm at work, yet when I drive into the driveway, I mentally punch out of work, and many times I'll just stop at a park 1 minute from my house. And I'll have some quiet time, some meditation, and do some breathing exercises to get centered on where I'm going into my family so I can be fully focused on them. And I know a lot of men tell me they struggle, that they spend all day at work, and again, this perhaps happens with women as well too, thinking about trying to get home for their family, and then they get home and they're excited to see the family, but within 5 minutes, an hour, or 2 hours, now they're thinking about work again. And so 3 goals that I have every day for me, which I hope you can adapt for your situation, is that I focus on my family when I'm with my family. Goal number 2 is I focus on work when I'm at work. I'm not checking ESPN all day. Sometimes I do check ESPN because you have to see how the Cardinals did, or the Brewers, or the Packers. And that will be a nice diversion for me to mentally recharge, but get back to my focus on work. And then I'm also focused on what's in front of me that day. I have a plan every day, yet I believe in planning with flexibility. And if someone needs some help during the day and it's not in my plan, like someone needs a flat tire changed or a door opened or an encouraging word, you need to be flexible in your plan to give that as well too. So focusing on what's in front of you is also important too. All right, so that's being there. Be in the moment. Now the next principle is called KISS. Keep it simple. Right. Simple is best. And I can even think about this workshop, this unworkshop series we're developing called Currency is More Than Cash. It's very easy to go off the deep end and think about all the millions of books I need to sell, and how the manual needs to be perfect, and how I need to go out and find new clients. And it just can be overwhelming when you start making things too complex, can it? Right. You can relate to this. Well, it just boils down, and again, I'm going to use my example, you adapt it to your situation. With keeping it simple, what I want to do is I just want to get out there and speak and share the Currency is More Than Cash message. And then I want to write as much as I can. I want to get my blog posts up, finish up the ebooks we're working on. Our first one's going to be out this week, called The Power of Woo, or Woo Power. One of the two. Ways to get what you want through people. And then see what happens. I call it OODA, and that's a term that was originally developed for military strategy, where military planners would have their grand plan for battle. They would go out and battle, and all heck would break loose in battle, as you can imagine. And so it's called observe, orientate, decide, and act. And you can do that as well too. Again, for me, what I do is I go out and speak, I write as much as I can, and I just see what happens. I observe what works, what doesn't work, I orientate myself to the situation, then I make a decision, and I act, and I do that as quickly as possible, getting from point A to point B, and repeating that cycle. All right, so far we've covered hot goals, be there, KISS, and now I want to cover radical mental care. Meaning that the small next step to get you to the next step is radical mental care. And how this looks in my life is reading, listening, and people. Reading. Readers are leaders. You've heard it before, you'll hear it again. But you'll be amazed how much reading will propel you forward. I know that in preparing for the Currency is More Than Cash unworkshop series, I had to do a little less reading and more writing. And now that I'm back into reading again, it's been mind-blowing how energized I am and how many more ideas that I'm pulling into the unworkshop series since I've started ramping up my reading again. And that's been great. And same thing with listening. Listening to other leaders, thought people, people who lead thoughts, and thinkers. through MP3s or CDs when I'm driving is an amazing way to take care of your mental space. And then the last thing is the people around you. I prefer to surround myself with people that are more talented than me. What happens then is it frees up my time to get me what I want. And I believe you can do the same thing in your life. Identify talent around you. Identify positive, encouraging people that uplift and empower you. And you'll find that you are launched onto your small next steps. Now, we can also cover about how to get annoying people out of your life. And of course, someone brought up on Facebook this past week, it was a great comment, well, if you surround yourself with people more talented than you, how do you grow? Well, what happens is when you bring the talent around you, you get stretched to their level and you start learning new things that you add to the group. And then that group is pulled up to your level as well too. And sometimes what was talented today will not be talented yesterday. And people will be in your life for a time. Sometimes you'll have people in your life forever. It just depends on the situation. You have to get comfortable with bringing talent in and people that surround you, and then growing and being okay that sometimes you outgrow people and they need to be launched into their small next step while you take your small next step. Doesn't mean you can't have friends. It just means that sometimes people are uplifting and encouraging you, and sometimes they're bringing you down. And you have to discern when you need the people in your life that are bringing you up, and then when you need to cut off people. All right, well, that's a whole nother topic. So let's just review the 4 small next steps that you need to take to get you what you want. You need hot goals, goals that fire you up. You need to be fully present. Be there, whatever you're doing, put all your might into it. You're there, get it done. You need to keep it simple. And you need radical mental care. When you do those 4 things, you'll find out that you can get what you want. And now, let me give you one quick roadblock stomper before I go. Roadblock stompers are straightforward ways to get you over those obstacles that get in your way. When you're on the path to success, you're gonna hit some roadblock stoppers. People think success is a straight line. It's not. It's a line that loops around, it goes down, backwards, reverse, you go a little bit forward, you go back, and eventually you come out the other end and you're going up. The roadblock stomper I want to give you, I can relate to in my life, where I had beliefs that I thought were going to get me where I wanted to go. And they did to a point. But as you start growing and getting to your small next steps, you're going to find that you need to burn down some of those beliefs. So in my life, it looks like a forest fire in front of me. That all the beliefs that I have for what is going to get me what I want, they need to come down. And so the trees are burning down. The trees are representing all those things in my life that I believed would get me what I want. And it's through that burned forest. If you think about the forest around you as a forest fire moves forward, it's black and charred, but then new growth comes up. So many times in your life, the thing that's going to get you to this next step may not be these 4 things I just gave you. Hot goals, being there, keeping it simple, and radical mental care. It's going to be something you need to drop. And I call it a to-drop list. So make a list of things you want to drop out of your life, and we can talk about delegation and surrounding yourself with talented people, because sometimes those to-drop lists, sometimes you just need to say no, and I'm giving you permission to say no. If it's not getting you what you want, say no. Other times, you need to delegate those things. All right, so that's a roadblock stomper for you today. And remember, having it all includes growing your bank account, living your passion, and maximizing your time. And there's nothing wrong with making some money. There's just 3 C's in making money. Cash, you have to pay your bills. Cause, you probably got something out there that's larger than life that you want to help take care of, whether it's giving to widows or orphans. And then celebrations. Remember to save some money so you can have a party when you achieve goals. It takes time to have fun. People in your life will love it. You'll love it as well too. All right. That's all for today. Every day here at Lost 1 Million, we're looking forward to talking about you getting what you want. High five, fist bump, and get it done.